on Guam.
KUAM News, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by
Pacific Points, Do More, Get More, and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Here we are, Guam. We are KUAM. I'm Jason Salas, merely the vessel for communicating all of the news and information and interviews that we are going to bring to you today. This is the Hotspot. We are your weekdaily 11 a.m. show. Lots to get to today. So sit back, strap in. Let's go.
The Menu, brought to you by King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and Ruby Tuesday Guam, home of the Fresh Garden Bar.
All right, real quick, this is what we have on the menu, and Master Control, please lower your microphone. In our daily drop today, the Moore trial has resumed in court. In national news, President Biden pledges to support Puerto Rico after Hurricane Fiona. Governor Lilian Guerrero has recapped her trip as well as the Pacific Summit, and we'll bring you another version of candidate conversations. Again, Master Control, your mic is hot. Well, the owner of Costco Mart in Maina is safe after a robber hit his store on Tuesday morning. The robber took off with more than $100 in cash that they grabbed from the register. The owner tells us it happened just after 8 a.m. along Talanpaleso in Maina. He says a tall man with a light complexion and a thin build who appeared to be around 175 pounds pulled up in a Hyundai sedan. The man walked around the store and asked about items behind the counter before reaching over and grabbing cash from the register. No items were stolen as the owner was not harmed. The owner also said his store has been targeted multiple times, and this time he decided not to report it to GPD, admitting none of the prior cases have been solved. We'll try and get to the bottom of that. In other news, a man was rushed to GMH after being hit by a car in Tamuning Monday night. GFD says that it happened at 6:21 p.m. along Marine Corps Drive, Route 1 of course, near Little Tommy's Barbershop, of course in Tamuning, and the man, only described as being an elderly person, was taken to the hospital by ambulance. His injury was non-fatal, according to GPD. GPD said the driver involved in the crash was also at the scene. The agency's Highway Patrol Division has been notified and police are investigating the matter. Witnesses say the crash caused some slight traffic delays. From court, murder defendant Nicholas Moore was back in court today for a drive-by shooting case. Parties will argue a motion in the case before Judge Alberto Tolentino. The trial has been faced with multiple delays over the past several weeks. The court even denied Moore's request for a mistrial in mid-September. He now stands accused in a 2020 drive-by shooting in Agana Heights that sent another man to the hospital. Co-actor Eric Salone has been testifying for a prosecution since cutting a plea deal. Moore also awaits his day in court for the alleged murder of Michael Castro and separately for having sex with a child. More crime news now as 28-year-old Tom Cicero was arrested and charged with third-degree robbery after allegedly stealing a donation bucket outside a store up in Dedido. On the 1st of October, the victim reported a man later identified as Cicero approaching him and stealing the Lions Club donation bucket he was holding. Cicero was located at the ponding basin at the old Dedido flea market. Court documents state an officer reported seeing Cicero place a large amount of money into his pockets. From the mainland, the president went to Puerto Rico today to survey the damage caused by Hurricane Fiona. The storm left widespread damage when it crashed into the island 2 weeks ago.
President Biden is promising Puerto Rico that help is on the way following the destruction left by Hurricane Fiona.
I want the people of Puerto Rico to know I'm committed, my entire administration is committed to standing with you every step of the way, as long as it takes.
Along with the First Lady, the FEMA administrator, and other officials, the president toured the southern part of the island, which was hardest hit. 2 weeks ago, the Category 1 storm left 3.2 million people in the dark and caused massive flooding. The president also announced aid is on the way to fix levees, flood walls, and to create a new flood warning system.
Today, I'm announcing more than $60 million in funding to help coastal areas in Puerto Rico.
Power has been restored to about 90% of the island's 1.47 million customers, but thousands in hard-hit areas are still without electricity or clean water. The island was still recovering from 2017's hit from Hurricane Maria, which had wiped out Puerto Rico's already fragile power grid. The president pledged the federal government will help get the grid rebuilt to last.
This year to date, Puerto Rico has received $4 million to help make the power grid more resilient. That number is going to go up.
Damage in Puerto Rico is estimated at about $3 billion, but officials warned that figure will likely increase. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Back here at home, the governor returned from the historic U.S. Pacific Island Country Summit called by the president at the White House. Lulian Guerrero attended the high-level meetings as an observer with the U.S. delegation. Nestor Lecanto recaps what was discussed.
The summit brought together the leaders of more than a dozen island nations from the North and South Pacific, who walked away with new pledges of more than $800 million in U.S. assistance. Much of the money will go toward a top concern, mitigating the impact of climate change and rising tides. The governor says her main takeaway was the successful signing of an 11-point U.S. Pacific Partnership Declaration.
I think that's a very good working document. And I was very excited that all the nations signed on to this agreement. And so, that's a big jump, I think, ahead. And if you look at the document, it's very workable, very realistic, and can be done.
The U.S. also promised to resurrect the Peace Corps, which had a strong presence here during the old Trust Territory days.
In the 60s and early 70s, where we had a very strong presence of Peace Corps here that helped with education, with health, to help lift up our people here. That's going to be again reestablished throughout the island nations.
Other key assistance is expected from the U.S. Agency for International Development and the Millennium Challenge Corporation. As a signal of Guam's importance, Governor Leon Guerrero was seated at the head table next to Secretary of State Antony Blinken on the first day of the summit.
Guam was very well acknowledged, recognized as a key player in this part of the world.
To further raise our stature in the region, the governor says Guam will apply for full membership in the Pacific Islands Forum, the key policy group in global geopolitics.
I think as our status as a U.S. territory, being a full member in the Pacific Island Forum gives the great signal that we are seen on an equal level with the island nations.
For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Well, fall premieres continue, if you weren't aware, with the launch of the new dating adventure series, The Real Love Boat. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. I could do this all day, so I'm just going to read the teleprompter. Inspired by the beloved 1970s series, The Love Boat, which I was just paraphrasing, the new series set aboard the luxury Mediterranean cruise brings together singles longing for a second chance at love and romance. Come aboard. We're expecting you. Now, the married hosts, Rebecca Romaine and Jerry O'Connell, remember, she's not married to John Stamos anymore, have a preview for that show that premieres Thursday, October 6th. Here is Mystique.
Look, what are you doing? I loved that show when I was a kid.
Jerry, no need to watch The Love Boat. We're aboard The Real Love Boat.
Let's go.
The Real Love Boat is a dating adventure show. It's 10 singles, 5 men and 5 women, mingling, looking for love.
The original show was about people who lost that spark, trying to get that spark reignited.
That's who the singles are on The Real Love Boat, and they're all super good looking.
I'm super excited to embark on this journey of love.
I can't find love in my city. I might as well go on a ship and travel the Mediterranean.
Tired of being lonely and single.
I'm ready to find my person.
The singles will be joined by our ship's delightful crew.
Cruise director Matt, Ezra the bartender, and we've got Captain Paolo, an actual captain.
My role is matchmaking, if you will. If the connection is deep and strong, you've got nothing to worry about.
I get to go out and help singles find their perfect match. Are you kidding me?
It is going to be chaotic, it is going to be sexy, and it is going to be a lot of fun.
If you love the challenges on The Amazing Race and Survivor, you're going to love this show. Yeah. The challenges are similar. They're set in the most beautiful locations in the Mediterranean.
It just takes you to a whole new world.
Lots of new worlds. Every port was a new world. The winners of the challenges get to sit at the captain's table, and they also get the key to the Real Love Boat suite.
Yeah. I actually
you don't have many expectations.
I just want to see what catches are at sea.
Everyone else here is looking for the same thing.
You are flat out gorgeous.
We end up with an odd number of men and women, so there's always one person who doesn't get picked.
When you're eliminated from the real Love Boat, you're getting left at the dock. Arrivederci.
Winners get $50,000 and a dream cruise around the world.
I cannot wait to explore the world.
I do love getting out of my comfort zone.
That's what it actually takes to find love.
It is going to be a wild ride.
I'm ready. I've been built for this moment.
It's people looking for love and people finding love.
Yes.
It's really sweet.
And love won't hurt anymore. It's a friendly smile on an open shore. It's love. Wait, oh, we're back? Oh, I'm sorry. I told you I can do this all day. I love the Love Boat. See? The Real Love Boat sets sail Thursday, October 6th, as I said, as part of CBS's All Reality Night during Survivor and The Amazing Race. Make sure to check it out on TV 11 and stream on Paramount Plus. And if you are like me, please feel free. Join me in the comments on YouTube and Facebook, because we're live right now. We're live streaming. Join me in singing The Love Boat. Gopher, Isaac, remember the Captain Steubing, what was it? Kimberly? Christy? The daughter? They switched her up in like season 2 and 3. Joan's gonna tell us because Joan knows everything about the 70s and 80s. All right, we have more pressing matters to get to. Believe it or not, well, I guess we'll ask Jess Lujan, Senator Chris Duenas, and Senator Joanne Brown if they love the Love Boat, because they are gonna join me on the KUAM couch, which is not the Love Boat, but they're coming up. Candidate Conversations right after this.
KUAM News, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
Dance party.
Let's go.
When inspiration strikes, say yes with the new Priority Unlimited credit card from First Hawaiian Bank. Wherever you shop, whatever you're shopping for, you can earn 2% cash back on everything you buy. From small stuff to big stuff to stuff you want. A card that rewards you for every purchase and helps you stay connected to everything that matters.
Today, I'm Kelina from Doc's Kitty College.
And I'm Kristen from Doc's Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The Governor's Child Care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the Governor's Child Care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS.
Pacific Points is more rewarding with friends. From now until December 31st, get 300 bonus points for every friend you refer that signs up and earns points. Both you and your friends will enjoy awesome rewards like free shelf fuel, rebates on your IT&E bills, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. Plus, earn more points to upgrade your membership tier and enjoy even more exclusive rewards. Learn more at PacificPoints.com or download the app. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Stay on top of breaking news and the biggest stories of the day with NBC News Daily. Get in-depth reporting from across the country and around the world, tips to take care of your health and your wallet, and up-to-the-minute local news. NBC News Daily, weekdays on NBC.
It's news in our native language on the KUAM News Tomorrow News Updates, streaming online on Isla Radio and on the KUAM News YouTube channel. It's part of our ongoing commitment to sustain and perpetuate our language and culture across generations. Tomorrow News Updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank. This year, we're expanding our Decision 2022 platform to include comprehensive coverage of the election in the Northern Marianas. Stay with KUAM News for candidate conversations on Pacific matters, interviews with the gubernatorial teams, coverage of debates and forums, and live coverage on the general election night. We're your news leader, the voice of the Marianas.
Hi,
Watch Mariana's artists, activists, and visionaries and their quest to protect, preserve, and promote our Chamorro culture on The Culture Club, a weekly feature on KUAM News digital platforms and the KUAM News Weekend Edition, brought to you by Tropical Ice.
The Culture Club, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
As the Decision 2022 race shapes up, keep it with KUAM News for all the news you need to know as you head to the polls. From weekly candidate profile analysis on the Hub on KUAM News HotSpot to our online candidate directory on KUAM.com, special features on KUAM Digital and KUAM News Primetime, plus live coverage of forums and debates. We're your one-stop source on every platform. Stay informed with KUAM News, your news leader, the voice of the Marianas.
It's news in our native language on the KUAM News Chamorro News Updates, streaming online on Isla Radio and on the KUAM News YouTube channel. It's part of our ongoing commitment to sustain and perpetuate our language and culture across generations. Chamorro News Updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
Welcome back to the Hotspot, everybody. It is time for another round of candidate conversations, if that graphic didn't give it away. This is the segment where three esteemed, accomplished Guamanians who are seeking your endorsement as they run for members in the 37th Guam legislature join me, tell you about themselves, their platforms, their motivations, maybe even some of their criticisms about the government and why they actually want to take the bull by the horns, as it were, or take the carabao by the ring in the nose and actually fix the problems in our community. And joining me right now on the KUM couch, I've got probably, if my math is correct, I want to say at least 65 years of public policy and government of service between the three of you, Senator Joanne Brown, Minority Leader Chris Duenas, and Jess Lujan, former senator and former KUM alumni. So welcome back, everybody. I was going to say, Senator Brown, apparently you did not get the memo about these lovely gray...
And I said, wow, the guys are looking...
Gray sport coats?
I guess we say sharp. They're looking really sharp today.
It is the mark of an distinguished gentleman.
This afternoon. This is wonderful.
Yeah, well, you look absolutely...
And you too, Jason.
You look absolutely lovely,
sharp,
Senator.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to like the festivities and talk about public policy, I'd just like your thoughts, because you guys were in the green room, right? You're a little bit older than me, all three of you, right? What are your favorite memories of the Love Boat? I know when you walked in here, you were like, the Love Boat's back?
I know. I go, is there a new program on the Love Boat? I don't have a specific episode, but I think, you know, when you watch those type of programs back in the day, it was just something that was entertaining, it was fun, it was light-hearted, and hopefully somebody left the boat with a little romance, right?
They don't make TV like that anymore.
I mean,
remember, you would have all these, it's like, hey, there's Radar from MASH, she's on the boat.
You want to watch it to escape, you know? Even we talked about the Waltons when we used to have lunch with Speaker and Pinko. We called them our Walton lunches because we'd all sit together and we'd break bread, and even if we were killing each other on the floor, you know, we could still sit down, and he wanted always to ensure that even if we didn't have we had disagreements, so we always had that camaraderie, and food was the way to do that.
Well, Senator, the Guam Congress building, not exactly a little house on the prairie,
not the same.
A most important house for our community. Okay, Senator Duenas, who is your favorite guest on the Love Boat?
I don't know about the guest, but my favorite guy was I forget his name now. The guy at the bar, the guy who tended the bar.
Isaac, the bartender.
And you know, if I have to draw a correlation, you know, what I remember now of what I remember of the Love Boat, there was always some sort of drama going on board.
Yep.
So somebody had to mediate that. Isaac was usually there giving good advice, and so it seemed the interaction with the crew. Sometimes maybe even something like the legislature.
That's very true.
You got the captain, you got the bartender, you got those who are in charge of entertainment, and things don't always go exactly as planned, so you need folks to get together and fix things. So
very nice analogy.
But Isaac, I think, Isaac had the easiest job because, you know, he handed out the stuff that makes people feel good.
He was also kind of like the voice of reason and the philosophical guy.
Seemed like it to me. Yeah.
Okay, so I know Jess Lujan, you've got some very strong opinions about the Love Boat.
Absolutely, you know, Love Boat, and Isaac, of course, he was the mediator of the whole show. But what I remember about Love Boat, actually, Love Boat took me away, as you said, from our daily grind, you know, and those were my competition years, my bodybuilding competition years. So I look forward to sitting down at night in front of the TV and just having at least my once a week steak, you know, where I can cheat a little bit, right?
Yep.
And I just get into the Love Boat because it just takes me away. It just takes me away on my routine, my daily routine, and you know, and it just takes me to that space where it's just thinking of that. And
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, those were very, very happy memories. Remember, of course, the real Love Boat, October the 6th. That's going to be on TV 11 and Paramount Plus. So I want to talk about very serious matters now, like the Love Boat, very, very happy memories. A event occurred in more recent history, I want to say 3 or 4 days ago. Senators Brown and Duenas, of course, the attempted override of the governor's veto of the public health emergency did not go as many of you would plan. And then, Jess, I'll get to you for your thoughts as a former policymaker. But Senator Brown, your thoughts, first of all, on, you know, you gave us, or, you know, we grabbed from YouTube some very strongly worded comments by you about members of your own party and how they may, you know, perceive, you know, the best way to lead the government of Guam and whose side they're on. Well,
I think that's very important because, of course, people see us, they see our faces and our names, and you think that's all really that's there. But, you know, what has happened with this, I really give Senator Chris a lot of compliments because when he got in this past legislature, he introduced Bill 11, and I'm very supportive of that because I had the very same concerns when I ran for office again 2 years ago about ensuring accountability in the government and ensuring checks and balance. And we went through this unfortunate pandemic. I mean, of course, we're looking forward that we continue to see it in our rearview mirror. But at the same time, and when you make decisions that impact our entire population, as we do in leadership, I think that needs to be a collaborative process. And to simply have the governor make these arbitrary decisions on her own, it's not right. And to allow the, you know, keep saying, oh, if you don't allow the governor to do this, we're going to lose all these federal programs. No, you can still allow the federal programs to continue, but what we think is important to be able to come back to the table and have the public engage in these decisions so that we're not simply imposing our rule, which is what it appears to be, but we're ensuring that the people have an input with regards to how they wish and desire to be governed.
Yeah, some very interesting comments by you the other night. Senator Duenas, of course, you know, this is your baby, you know, to maybe a strange way to phrase that, but I mean, this is the 4th time that you've introduced this and you've tried to bring forth, you know, this action. You've told me on this very show several months ago that you said, you know, you really believe that having a public health emergency at this juncture just does not work, and it's kind of, you know, like unnecessary. So now with this being, you know, the 4th time, it's not like baseball. It's not 3 strikes and you're out. I'm assuming you will continue to pursue this action.
I will, and as I mentioned on the floor, Jason, you know, I think to the people of Guam, hopefully maybe even the balance of this term or into the next term, if we're so fortunate to get your support. This is something I'm going to continue to pursue. And, you know, my good friend, Senator Brown, as far as I'm concerned, one of the strongest voices on the floor of the legislature. You know, she has done things to make sure that despite, you know, Bill 11 not passing, she has strengthened Guam's open government law. She has been absolutely fierce, along with many of us Republicans, when it comes to the issues of the budget. And I know Jess has got things to say about that too. We've been talking offline. You know, the people of Guam, please understand, you know, this budget that just passed, it really is, it's some of it's pie in the sky. And you're going to need senators who are absolutely going to be committed to budgeting properly for the government of Guam and to ensuring that the kind of power that's been given to this particular executive is not something that goes forward. And so I'll continue to fight. But with Senator Brown on my side and Senator Jess coming back, if the people have us, I'm going to tell you they're going to be served well, and I'm glad to be here with them. Okay, so the Republican Party well represented here today, but Jess Lujan, you know, you were a 2-term senator.
3-term.
Oh,
3-term.
Beg your pardon.
Yeah, so 6 years that you fought. You introduced public policy. You argued with your colleagues on either side of the aisle. Then you were a member of the media, and a very, very good one for many years, so you gained a different type of perspective and, you know, analysis. As an outsider looking in now on the goings-on with, you know, this whole public health emergency, should the veto be overridden and everything like that? What are your thoughts on that? And if you were in office right now, how would you vote?
No, absolutely. I mean, are we in an emergency? Absolutely we are. Are we in a public health emergency? No, we aren't. We are in an emergency in regards to the crystal meth and crime. Absolutely. And we need to shift to that. That emergency needs to be shifted into that so we can get all our resources to be able to get the full government support and backing to be able to tackle those situations. Again, how many of us feel safe? I mean, a lot of our families are ravaged by the crystal meth situation we have here. Crime. I mean, we're sitting down in the green room, ready to get in here, And most of your reporting is all about the crime that's been committed. I was
First 5 stories were crime stories.
I was talking to, of course, my campaign manager Vic Gaza, who just said that he's a member of the Lions, and he was just saying, this past weekend they were collecting money for the Lions, and again, one of the guys who was featured in the crime report took the bucket and ran. So those are the things. Our tourist numbers are coming back, but we're far, far, far from total recovery. Absolutely far from that.
Okay, so let's stay on that, and we'll go back to Senator Brown on the topic of crime. It's been, like as Jess perfectly said, the volume of stories that we have to report is increasing. The drug problem is a known thing. What are your thoughts on actually reducing crime, and what can be done in the short term to at least curtail the volume of people doing things that are against the law?
Obviously it's narrowing down where it's coming and the source of how it's coming into the island, because it's obviously coming in. I mean, even though they're saying, okay, we're doing these drug busts here and there and we've collected 100 pounds of meth, but well, then how many thousands of pounds are still coming in because of the fact, and that's how we measure it, is that the cost has dropped substantially. And yet we know so much crime that's affecting our people, and even the fear, as Senator just mentioned. I mean, none of us, our families, I mean, you started, okay, well, we're going to build the fence, then we're going to put the security system, then we're going to put the camera system. I mean, our people, our families, our good citizens literally are imprisoned in their own homes, don't feel a sense of safety after a certain time. You got to, I'm out at night, is it safe to be? You worry about your kids going out, and that's not the Guam we grew up in. And while people say, well, you can't turn the clock back, but I think we have an expectation that we have a safe society. And right now, it seems like those that are committing the offenses are running the island, literally running the island, and there's no shame in that. And I think our personal safety and the safety of our family, we can't say we have a good quality community if we don't have that. That's like the most basic foundation we need to build upon again.
Okay, Senator Duenas, you of course you are a businessman, a very successful one too. So, and there is a strong correlation talking about A and B relationships to be made for when small businesses feel safe to operate, and when they don't have to put the bars on their windows, and when they can have like a proper inviting welcoming storefront, or when they just basically have to say, I got to watch out because I don't want my place to get vandalized, I don't want to get hit by burglars or anything like that. So your thoughts on reducing crime for the small businesses?
Sure, my thoughts, I'm going to go straight to it, Jason. Sure. People of Guam, public safety has been a failure in this current majority. I'm advocating for a Republican majority. We need it. We need that to be top of mind from the administration position as well. I'm sorry, but it's been a failure. I've heard so many officers who have told me, that internally there's been a breakdown in some of the actual divisions. There's just a lack of will to push the envelope and to get out there and do more. I think the Mandanya Drug Task Force that Governor Calvo put together was the way to go. I'm looking forward to working with Jess and Joanne and others to ensure that we set a new threshold. There has to be a threshold whereby when we get to a certain amount of officers, if it's too low, when we get to a certain amount of situation where the epidemic exists in the community, it's got to trigger something that makes a Mandanya Task Force or something like it come to be, to where the community knows that there's an absolute focus. There's no focus on the crime situation right now, and you need to change your government in order to be able to do that.
So you're saying maybe like quality levels, or like a more data-driven approach as people like say right now. So like you were talking about thresholds, when a number is eclipsed or gone below in this case and everything, that triggers certain actions.
Jason, if you go out tonight with your team and you go to every precinct, you might find 2 or 3 officers if you're lucky. It's unacceptable. You cannot have these levels of officers. We cannot get to this low level. That's why when the Mandanya Task Force was put together, it triggered the fact that all the agencies came together. If you needed from Port Police, you could pull. If you needed from Airport Police, you could pull. You did everything that you could do to protect the streets. And the bottom line is if you don't do that, and if you don't put the focus, and if CID over at GPD and others, if they don't feel empowered that they can go out there and do what they need to do to enforce and knock down doors if they have to, and then the back end of this is the treatment aspect. But you gotta capture control of the streets again. All right. I'm very serious about it.
I was gonna say, calm down, Senator, because I don't want you to get too animated. You might tear that really nice sport coat you have, and we want the 3 of us to actually represent well for the gray sport coat. So, okay, so just fighting crime is a major foundation of your platform and everything. So I'm sure you've got some big opinions about this, and also hopefully some big solutions.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, you know, when you talk about the branches of government, the legislative, the executive, and of course the judicial, you know, we need to ensure, you know, that all the agencies that are fighting the drug epidemic, whether it be in the public health side, you know, mental health, and of course the public safety aspect of that, and Coast Guard and things of that nature, that they get all the necessary resources to be able to fight that. But where the legislature comes in, and I haven't seen this, you know, in the majority party, is the power of the oversight.
Right.
The power of the oversight of the legislative oversight that you have. And I can tell you this, I'll be relentless, you know, if the people of Guam give us the opportunity to serve, you know, in the 37th Guam legislature and be a part of the majority, I'll be relentless in our pursuit to make sure to hold people accountable.
Right.
These directors and all that are in charge accountable, and that's the role of the legislature, the oversight of these agencies. What the heck are you doing? We're giving you the resources and it's not being done, or again, as the statute we put together, why are you not doing it the way it's supposed to be done? That's the power of the legislature, is the oversight of what is happening, and I don't see that it's not happening.
So I could probably make the analogy just that, you know, even though, like as you said, you know, your bodybuilding training regimen in your career, you know, ended many years ago.
Sure.
If in fact elected into office, you are definitely going to flex from day one, like on you know, on these agencies, and hold them on the agencies, the commissions, and the departments to get them more in tip-top shape.
Well, you know, you got to hit the road running. Right. Hit the road running. I mean, we can't sit back. I mean, we're in for some really rough times.
All right.
I mean, thanks to the federal government, with all the infusion of federal dollars.
You can't sugarcoat that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, before we go to commercial break, Senator Brown, as the senior most senator here, how long has it been now since the GOP had the majority downtown?
Gosh, it has been a good, what, 14 years?
Yeah,
14, yeah. Nestor was talking about that the other day.
The 29th was our last, but then we lost it mid-year.
Right, yes.
14 years since the Republicans had a majority. All right, something to think about as we go to commercial break. But when we come back, your community questions, that's the word I'm looking for, your community questions for Senator Joanne Brown, Senator Chris Duenas, and Jess Lujan when we come back with more candidate conversations after this.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
There's epic, then there's ultra epic. Capture life in vivid resolution with Galaxy's most advanced camera system and the built-in S Pen that puts you in control. Every moment, every angle, from sunrise to sundown and beyond. More striking, more stunning than ever. Find the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra at your nearest iTunes store or online at ite.net and change the way you work and play.
Half a day, I'm Kelina from Doc's Cutie College.
And I'm Kristen from Doc's Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The governor's child care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the governor's child care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS.
Dance party.
Let's go.
When inspiration strikes, say yes with the new Priority Unlimited credit card from First Hawaiian Bank. Wherever you shop, whatever you're shopping for, you can earn 2% cash back on everything you buy. From small stuff to big stuff to stuff you want. A card that rewards you for every purchase and helps you stay connected to everything that matters.
Pacific Points is more rewarding with friends. From now until December 31st, get 300 bonus points for every friend you refer that signs up and earns points. Both you and your friends will enjoy awesome rewards like free Shell fuel, rebates on your IT&E bills, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. Plus, earn more points to upgrade your membership tier and enjoy even more exclusive rewards. Learn more at PacificPoints.com or download the app. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
All right, here we go. All right, welcome back. Candidate Conversations continues, and joining me now on the KUAM couch. I don't think we have time to talk about like the love boat tragically at this round, but very important solutions, ideas, and passion from Senator Joanne Brown, Minority Leader Chris Duenas, and Jess Lujan, former 3-term senator. So we'd like to go to our video questions right now, ladies and gentlemen. And this first one comes from the Action Pack, our friend Phil Leddy. Hi, Phil.
Afternoon. My name is Phil Leddy. I'm the Executive Director at the Action Pack. My question to the candidates is, how do you intend on restoring faith, hope, and confidence in our government as well as our economy to eliminate or at least lessen the rising number of our residents that are fleeing our island seeking better opportunities elsewhere?
All right, so Phil, anytime senators and just anytime a political action committee puts forth questions, obviously it comes from a much larger group. So certainly Phil and his colleagues there. Thanks, Phil, for that question, by the way. They're going to be paying attention. So Senator Brown, your thoughts on restoring faith, hope, and confidence in our government and trying reducing the number of Guamanians who just say, I got to look elsewhere to make a living?
Well, I think it needs to start with trust in government, and I think that's what we're lacking. We don't have the transparency and accountability that we should have, where people feel and know that the resources of their government are being reinvested back in them and not in itself, or not in political favors that are being taken care of, or hiring family members and giving contracts to certain people. When you don't have that level of accountability and transparency, you end up with corruption. It allows corruption to breed, and that's one of the things certainly when I ran 2 years ago and why I'm running again, is because I'm very concerned about that in our government. We see it, we hear it, we know it. It's all the way down to the employee who gets someone hired above them that has no expertise and experience because they're politically connected, but they don't have the know-how. And it's our people being discouraged because they see that kind of nonsense going on. And that if you're not part of the in crowd, then you're obviously part of the out crowd, and you don't get to have where our government really should be there to directly serve our people, not serve itself. And we're seeing a lot of special interests making sure they're taken care of. And what's happening to our people are not feeling that sense of confidence. So I think addressing that, getting trust back in government means being a government that's open and our people know exactly how and where their resources are going and have a greater say in how that process happens.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Senator, but it was under former Governor Joe Adams' administration, he actually brought you into the fold of GovGuam, and that's a time when, many, okay, don't hold me to this, but many people would say that was like the high point of government employment.
Yes.
Like when it wasn't just for, public sector retirement benefits and, because you've got a cousin there and everything like that. That was seen as a distinct place to work and a thing of pride.
And unexpectedly for me, ended up being another 33 now year career as a result of that. Yeah.
And a very impressive one. So, all right, so Senator Chris Duenas, your thoughts on restoring faith, hope, and confidence in the people's government?
Joanne hit it. Senator Brown hit it. The bottom, but to add to that, it basically comes down to the merit system, which is what you were just discussing. But it also comes down to budgeting. When we started this budget process, several of us colleagues on the Republican side of the House pointed out there is over $160 million in additional revenue that has come into this government that basically we just spent, as far as I'm concerned, irresponsibly and not in coordination with our business community, understanding the impact of the 5% on the BPT. And we basically just, as Senator Brown constantly points out, we get money and we can't spend it fast enough. That's not the right way to do things. We got to remember that we have to balance the budget. We have to balance the budget between what we collect in taxes and how we make sure businesses can survive, employ new people, give raises to their people, and be able to sustain their businesses going forward. So confidence and trust, it's basically, how does the government budget? How does it rule the purse? And so right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's just not there, and that discipline is not there. And you need folks like Senator Brown, Senator Jesse, who's been there during lean times, to get in there and be more realistic about government revenues and support our business.
Now, real quick, Senator, I can give you 10 seconds for this response, but for the average person out there who doesn't know how to, interpret a balance sheet or, go through the whole budgeting process, that's just not their thing.
Sure.
Can you summarize like what you just said in to basically say, this is your government, we're not going to waste money and everything like that?
Yeah, this is your government. Your government should show you that it's truly prioritizing the funds.
There you go.
Make sure you take care of education. Make sure you take care of healthcare. Make sure you take care of public safety. And everything else comes after. And the government should basically make sure it lives within its means. And it proves to the people, like performance-based budgeting, when it needs the additional revenue. But don't just take money out in taxes because you need to satisfy the fact that the budget keeps growing. You have to control spending.
All right, there you
Everybody else in their life does it. You do it at your house, Jason.
Absolutely, or at least I try to. And hopefully.
Well, it's worked. You got a nice suit.
Thank you. KUAM paid for this, so thank you, Marie, by the way. Okay, so Jess Lujan, your platform, again, is calling forth progress and evolution of the government and the way that it operates. But you're also saying, we got to go back to fundamentals and the things that made Guam great at one point and the way that we're supposed to manage the government. So what are your thoughts, again, on restoring faith, hope, and confidence?
Well, Senator Chris and I were talking in the green room regarding the $1 billion budget that was just passed by the legislature, and I said, man, the reality, that's not the real world that we live in. Being in the private sector, $1 billion budget, a lot of people are hurting. We're going to be in a world of hurt. There's still a lot of places down in Tumon and elsewhere that are boarded up. People have left the island. Your tax base is leaving the island. The ones that can't are leaving. And the people that are migrating to Guam are looking for, again, a better life, trying to get jobs that can't be had at this point. So definitely, but again, as I said in the previous question, I said, we provide all we can for the different agencies and the directors and deputies of those agencies. But as an oversight, we need to make sure that we call these people in. And a lot of times in the oversights, I've seen it's a love fest. And it really isn't. You bring them in and hold them accountable to where these monies are going, the hirings that are happening, especially in these really, really grim times.
That's right.
And contract. You have the infusion of federal funds is fantastic, but really without that, we have a contracting economy here in Guam.
Exactly.
And so
recession.
It's false to say that there's a lot of money, and it's not because all the hotels are full. Oh. It's because this money came from these Xerox machines that were printed out. That printed out these monies.
Correct.
But really, our tourism is contracting. Yes, the numbers look promising, but we're nowhere near where we normal.
Okay. All right, let's keep rolling. And our next video question comes to us from Jennifer about education.
My name is Jennifer. I work here at Compadres Mall. My question is, what will you do to fix our crumbling schools since I have kids in the public schools?
All right, Jennifer, a parent of children in public schools right over there in Compadres Mall. So, Senator Brown, your thoughts about she used the word right, crumbling schools. They're literally falling apart.
I have to tell you, when that report came out recently that Ocean View had to be shut down because the school was not safe, you had to wonder, because, as Senator Jesse had mentioned, Senator Chris here, where's the accountability? Things don't break down overnight unless we had like a major earthquake or something. And that was concerning to me because, we pour the bulk of our budget into the educational system on Guam. Granted, there are older buildings that need to be either addressed, maintained, in some cases rebuilt. So we need to prioritize, obviously, how we're addressing financing, but that's also something we have to be cautious about because we have a number of schools that are leased to own. A number of them that were built, fortunately, during the Camacho administration. Of course, JFK, I was at DPW when they reconstructed John F. Kennedy. So we have to look and ensure that we have the financing available because these are long-term commitments. They're like 30 plus 40 years that we're financing these schools.
Literally a mortgage.
Literally a mortgage. And you want to also ensure, yes, there's time because of schools, but also the maintenance, which is something the government really does poorly, is addressing proper maintenance of these schools. And unfortunately, I know the schools are also having to deal with constant vandalism. Again, links back to the whole crime issue that we're dealing with. So I think we would, as we did during those days. I was in the legislature during those days when Governor Camacho came forth to get financing for the lease to own, and the maintenance are, like JFK was included. So we can ensure these schools are around for many more years because the people of Guam cannot afford to rebuild new schools every 30 years. Build it, demolish it, rebuild it again. So I think it's important that we properly maintain these facilities so that they're safe and we're not hearing announcements like Ocean View, we got to move the whole population out. And you're wondering what's been going on all this time to properly address the maintenance of those schools.
All right, Senator Duenas, so many terms have been thrown. Again, crumbling, very, very apropos, but dilapidated, deteriorating. We use these kind of things, like in our job in journalism, but they really do hit home the fact that many, including my alma mater at Simon Sanchez High School, the place is literally falling apart.
Yeah, Jason, once again, I'm just going to jump out here and say something that might not make a lot of people comfortable. But,
please.
The bottom line is there's two school systems right now. You go to all of the leaseback schools, and they don't have this disrepair issue. They don't have the problems. I think it's time now that we sit down and figure out the budget of Department of Education, extrapolate what it would look like if every school right now was reconstructed under a leaseback system, and get out of the maintenance and building, business. schools, teaching, learning, take care of our kids. We need to take a hard look at that. Right now, we have over $200 million, and I'm not blaming anybody, but we got to ask ourselves a question. They got their own ARP money.
Yeah.
Where is the urgency in terms of getting these things done? You know, we really need to circle back to that. I don't understand how in the last 3 months, you know, it seems like we have an interim superintendent, and now we're finding out, you know what I mean, that we have massive problems that weren't being discussed before. So first of all, we got a pot of money. Let's move on it. Let's work with the board. Let's work with education. But it's going to come back to us at the legislature. That's why people like this woman, parent, is
like
asking us these questions. Jennifer's asking us these questions. So all hands on deck, bottom line.
There you go.
Final word, let's look at the model and see, because it's working, what is it really going to cost that every single one of our schools is under leaseback? Get out of the maintenance business, stay in the education business.
All right, Jess, you're looking to reclaim your previous seat down in the legislature. And tragically, some of the problems that we've had with public education were around when you last sat downtown.
Absolutely. And you know, back at the time, Jason, we just started with the build, operate, transfer situation, and that has been working. As Senator Chris has been saying, it's been working. GovGuam is very good in building and planning to build, but it really sucks when it comes to maintenance. So build, operate, transfer, the leaseback situation is what works. And so before we build anything GovGuam, they need to have that component in there. The only thing is after a certain amount of years, it goes back to GovGuam. So what happens after that? What happens after that? We need to look at that. Is GovGuam going to continue to be out of the maintenance situation? Because if that's the case, then it's going to be a forever thing with maintenance that we have to get into contracts with. I mean, we're looking at building a new hospital. That's the shell. Can we maintain it? The museum is needing to be renovated now. Pools are needing I mean, look at the pools. They're still non-functional.
There you go.
So, you know, again, the maintenance thereof of those situations come into play.
Look at the pool down at Southern.
It never worked.
Yeah. Was that a 25-year-old problem that we had?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't even KUAM when that happened. All right.
It never worked.
All right. Thank you, Jess. All right. Third and final question comes to us from our friend Myra.
My name is Myra, and I'm from Guam. I am a deaf individual that wants to ask the question about what type of services you can provide for the deaf community. Really, we have a lot of people that travel in and out of Guam to make sure we have all accessibilities. And do you understand the ADA requirements for individuals with disabilities, especially deaf people, that they must have an interpreter, or that they must have closed captionings on the TV, or even little sentences to make sure that they understand it fully? Especially if you want us to vote for you. How do we know if we don't understand?
All right, so Myra, very, very well phrased question. So Senator Brown, I'd like to go to you. So again, Myra's asking, what can you do to ensure services are provided adequately for our deaf community and ADA compliance?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's like Senator Jess had mentioned, and Senator Chris as well. It's the oversight to make sure that the key government agencies like DISIT that are supposed to be out there doing the outreach to our community are doing it. You know, there's a lot of federal grants and opportunities for equipment that's needed. One of the things also that I wanted with regards to having public hearings, for example, meetings of the government agencies to be put online, is so that people in the comforts of their home can be able to see what their government's doing. But it's also ensuring that we have the information, the resources out there on their computer, which I know is available, but are people even aware of it? So that they can, even members of the deaf community can be able to hear or know what's going on through that assistive technology of what their government's doing. I think that's important. And again, it's really oversight and follow-up. And I've been in a number of legislatures. If I'm successful this time around, this would be my 8th term. I mean, I'm running for my 8th term. But I have to agree, we just have not had that level of oversight in the Guam legislature to make sure that while we have a $1 billion budget we can brag about, you know, are the services that these agencies are supposed to provide, are they being provided?
Sure.
And I think that's something that certainly, if we are fortunate to get back in individually, we will do. Collectively, I think we will be a powerhouse in making sure this government's accountable.
All right, and shout out to the folks at DISA. They are doing a fantastic job, and they always have. So, Senator Duenas, of course, I mean, when you talk about ADA compliance, this isn't a ramp because like it's the right thing to do, or because you happen to know somebody at that agency, or like because you want to be like a nice person. This is federally mandated.
Right.
This is stuff that you cannot ignore.
Sure. And going back to what's being discussed here, I'm not being well versed to this specific issue, Myra. What I want to say is that it does come down to why isn't the communication coming through the proper chains and channels to understand where is the problem? And the legislature is that place where the people come to express that. Once again, going back to the budgeting process, Jason, a lot of times we're cramming in these meetings back to back. We're a full-time body. There's no reason why we can't put more time and more effort and more hearings and make sure that we get also a lot of good public notice. Because Myra, just because it's the budget process for DICIT or other agencies, public health, those who absolutely mandate, enforce the mandates, there's no reason why in a properly noticed meeting, you shouldn't come to those meetings as well during the public portion and say, listen, we're here for this agency's budget, but I'm here to say that there's not enough enforcement on this issue. And these are federal requirements and things that need to happen. So whether it's internal to the government or whether it's not getting enforced outwardly in terms of making sure that the businesses and the compliance is there, then it comes back once again to when we know about it, we can do something about it.
All right, and Jess, I know when you were working here at KUAM and you had your morning show, I would come up and see you and just pop in sometimes, and I know that you'd field a lot of calls about services for our hearing impaired, vision impaired, people with behavioral disabilities and everything. So this is something that you've had a great deal of experience with.
Well, not only that, in regards to the calls, but this is something near and dear to my heart. My wife's brother, my brother-in-law, is a deaf mute, and my daughter, my oldest daughter, teaches to folks that are deaf and who have autism. And so something that's really near and dear to my heart. And Myra, I'd spoken to Myra in the past regarding situations like this. And unfortunately, this is not being translated in sign for her to understand.
Which is kind of her point.
Absolutely.
Probably should have somebody in the little window.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping in the 37th KUAM legislature that we would have maybe somebody on staff that can sign, that can sign everything that's being said, so they can understand what is going on, and every news conference, whatever, could have that. I know there are in some entities, I know in the addresses, I know they have that, but it should be in every facet of government. I mean, I think there's supposed to be, 2% of your workforce has to be people with disabilities. I think it is, and it should. It's a must. And again, unfortunately, Myra, I can't sign, and I wish somebody would be able to.
You could say, I love you.
I love you.
I love you. I know that. There you go.
But again, in regards to oversight, this is where the oversight comes in, and we provide the resource. But is it getting to where it
needs to go?
All right.
Where it needs to go.
All right. Good thoughts. Also, I'm detecting a very distinct theme here with Senator Brown calling for accountability, Senator Duenas with budgeting, and Jess Lujan with accountability. Oversight, yeah.
But the interesting thing is we're all speaking the same language and we're all quite comfortable with each other. We're not having to try to explain.
You all happen to be part of the same political party too.
We're not trying to explain ourselves, but we have the same view and the same message of how we need government to be accountable to our people.
Okay, Jason, nothing else moves unless you got good, clean, non-corrupt government. Everybody always asks us, some of us will purport that, we could save the world. None of us really could save the world. But what we can do is make government operate, function well, and that's what makes everything else work.
There you go. All right.
And we've been through this rodeo before as well, too.
So there you go. All right. Real quick commercial break, and then we get the lighter side of these candidates when we return. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss what's coming up.
Watch Mariana's artists, activists, and visionaries and their quest to protect, preserve, and promote Archimoto culture on The Culture Club, a weekly feature on KUAM News digital platforms and the KUAM News Weekend Edition. Brought to you by Tropicool Ice.
The Culture Club, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
This year, we're expanding our Decision 2022 platform to include comprehensive coverage of the election in the Northern Marianas. Stay with KUAM News for candidate conversations on Pacific matters, interviews with the gubernatorial teams, coverage of debates and forums, and live coverage on the general election night. We're your news leader, the voice of the Marianas.
Pacific Points is more rewarding with friends. From now until December 31st, get 300 bonus points for every friend you refer that signs up and earns points. Both you and your friends will enjoy awesome rewards like free Shell fuel, rebates on your IT&E bills, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. Plus, earn more points to upgrade your membership tier and enjoy even more exclusive rewards. Learn more at PacificPoints.com or download the app. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Stay on top of breaking news and the biggest stories of the day with NBC News Daily. Get in-depth reporting from across the country and around the world, tips to take care of your health and your wallet, and up-to-the-minute local news. NBC News Daily, weekdays on NBC.
All right, welcome back to the show. Chatter is good, conversation is good. Believe it or not, I know the audio was muted during that break, but Senator Joanne Brown was actually asking a former bodybuilder and former Mr. America, Jess Lujan, if he actually worked out with future Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was Commando, he was the Terminator, he was in Predator and everything. You did not work out with Arnold himself.
I did not. I worked out the same gym that he did. I wasn't his workout partner. You know, I mean, I couldn't spot him. He was too tall for me.
And so, Senator Duenas, have you ever worked out with anyone of note? Any movie stars? Or
no movie stars, but Guam's local star other than Jess Lujan, none other than Joe Duenas, second in the world.
Yeah, there you go.
Joe, yeah.
How closely are you related?
You know, we're related. We really even never went back and dug up to see exactly where we, join each other on the tree. But we are related. We have mutual cousins and things like that, but we never really nailed that down. But I tell you, when you left the gym after working out with Joe Duenas, man, you needed recovery.
We were just working out yesterday together.
Well, we'll tell you what. No,
Joe's awesome.
Some things that all of us have as Guamanians are certain senses of passions and things we like to do. Sure. A lot of those we'll have in common. So here are our lightning round questions. And we talked about, start with Senator Joanne Brown. We talked about the Love Boat earlier. Senator, what was your favorite TV show when you were little Joanne?
Oh my God. I mean, I should say this. I like to watch the Brady Bunch because they so much connected with my, my age group, my cousins. We were all kind of, the clothes we wore, the station wagon.
Who did you identify with most?
Well, gosh,
I want to say Jan.
It wasn't Marcia. God. I would say maybe more Jan. Yeah.
Okay, Jan or Cindy.
Yeah, Jan. Well, Cindy was, the youngest one with the cute curls and the baby dolls. Yeah.
All right. Well, the Senator Chris Duenas, by the way, who has an excellent singing voice because he sings, as I say, every time he comes on the show at the 9:30 Mass down at Cathedral. What was your favorite show growing up? Something musical, maybe?
This is going to be funny. I don't even know if many people on Guam, right? Because I was actually living in Michigan during the time. But BJ and the Bear.
BJ and the Bear was good.
BJ and the Bear. I remember BJ and the Bear.
The opening.
Why'd they call him a bear when he was a little monkey?
I've been rolling down the road trying to loosen my load. I had to sing a little bit, but that was the theme song. But I remember that because I was fascinated with trucks when I was a kid, and I always believed I was going to be a truck driver. And one of my closest brothers, Kevin, who's very close to me, and we would sit there and watch because we were the younger of our family of 8, and so he was really fascinated by it. And he's a truck driver now in Kentucky, owns his own rig.
I was more into cars, so that's why I got into Knight Rider. But I'm a little bit younger than you.
That's right, Knight Rider.
All right, Jess, I cannot wait to hear this. What was your favorite TV show when you were growing up?
We talked about this, the Rick, of course, Andy Griffith.
Yep.
Of course, Leave It to Beaver, and my favorite cartoon was Felix the Cat.
Felix
the Cat,
okay.
The wonderful, wonderful cat.
Can you whistle? Can you whistle the beginning for Andy Griffith for us?
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yep. See, I grew up with those guys.
There you go. That was Senator Duenas.
See, you can whistle.
I told you he can carry a tune. Andy Griffith, really good. Of course,
we better work on our
and Leave It to Beaver.
And Leave It to Beaver. Very good. All right. Question number 2, Senator Joanne Brown. What is your go-to if you are craving something sweet?
Oh gosh, chocolate. I like a nice chocolate bar with almonds.
Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, Belgian chocolate?
No, I love milk chocolate.
White chocolate? So milk chocolate?
Hey, white chocolate's not too bad, but I like milk chocolate. Yeah, with almonds, yeah.
Because I can see you kind of being like a high-end Godiva girl, because you've got
totally
but then
not,
I can also
Jason,
I can also
totally
see you
not.
I can also see you going to Payless and just grabbing the Hershey bar and just going
drinking my Mai Tais in the afternoon. I mean, I'm a pretty,
right on, girl.
I can be a pretty rugged girl, I bush cut, I can hand saw. I mean, you'd be surprised at
That's
things.
what I'm saying. You can do Godiva or you can do Hershey bar.
No, my dad raised me to be a pretty, tough girl. So.
Right on. There you go. Yeah. All right. Senator Duenas, I know you've got a sweet tooth. This I know for a fact.
Strawberry ice cream.
Oh, that's good too.
I love strawberry ice cream.
That's really
And what was funny is all my brothers and my sister, they would get so bummed out when it was my birthday. because my family does not share that desire. And every time Dad says, okay, what's the ice cream for your birthday? I'm like, strawberry. They're like, we're not coming.
As long as they drop off the gift.
Yeah,
that's the most important
love
thing.
Strawberry ice cream, man. So that's my absolute go-to.
Okay, I forget the name, but and Marie's gonna wring my neck for this. But right across from St. Anthony's, when I was a kid, when I was going to school there, there used to be I believe there was a Chinese-owned ice cream shop there. They had the best pineapple ice cream, but also their strawberry ice cream. They had the real strawberries with the big chunks. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they did paninis too. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know the place.
All right. So Jess Lujan. You have always educated the community in proper diet, proper nutrition, proper working out, but I know you love sugar.
I love soft vanilla ice cream. Soft vanilla ice cream, and I would get really upset when I go through McDonald's and the machine is down. Then I'll have to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and the machine is down. Then I'll have to resort to yogurt, soft yogurt.
That's the option.
But that's not a bad second choice.
No, it's not. But soft vanilla ice cream, man. I'm Dairy Queen. Oh wow.
Oh man, remember Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen. When I'm in the Philippines, because there's still a lot of Dairy Queens over there, right? Yeah. I always have a cone, double. You know the double layer, right? Okay. I don't like the chocolate on it, but I like the double layer and just. Boom.
Okay, one more question, and we're going to go to question number 4. This is after a long work day, Senator Joanne Brown. How do you unwind? Probably not with chocolate bar.
No, and I don't drink. I actually like my quiet time. I like sitting out. Now, I really enjoy sitting outside and just, especially when it's later at night, you don't hear much traffic. I listen to the ocean crashing. I like looking up at the stars. That's the best time. It's not being surrounded by any noise.
Well, you're on Pago Bay, too. That's a beautiful view.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining, Jason. When I walk out some days and I'm like, wow, this is, I have to sit down and just take it in. So that would be the best part of my day to unwind, just for a few quiet minutes of just savoring and watching the cars drive up the Jonia Hill there.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Senator Chris Duenas, you're a man of many talents, so what do you do to unwind?
2 things. On the weekends, of course, fishing. I just like hanging out on the boat, being with my friends and my family. Every day that I come home, though, when I've had a stressful day, and even if I didn't, I just love seeing my dog. My dog Ace is like such a big part of my life, and dogs are just amazing. I've had dogs pretty much all my life, but they just they don't judge, you know what I mean? They're so happy.
And they love you.
Yeah, they love you, and they're just so happy to see you. So
very nice.
And no matter what happened during the day, once my dog's jumping up and down and the tail's going, everything's good.
All right. Well, speaking of family, we also at KUAM wish to extend to you our congratulations. For you had a wedding in your family
CJ
recently.
and Octa got married. My son.
Congratulations.
Beautiful wedding in Hawaii. Oh man, I tell you, every time that's going to be my new go-to when I have to think of something really fun and lovely.
Very nice.
And thank you very much.
And finally, you're very welcome. And finally, Jess Lujan, what do you do? Pump like around 750 or?
Well, no. I like to start my day by working out. That's that's it. It's a lifestyle. I start out my day working out. At the end of the day, usually the end of the day is it's a very long day for me. So my family and I we don't live in the same country, So to unwind, I call my wife and daughter, talk to my daughter how she did in school today and all that. She's 10, but she thinks she's 21.
Oh, okay.
So I like to, I'm like, wow, if she's 21, what is she going to be when she is turned 21? Yeah. Like that. But I love listening to that and her day and what happened. I got elected today as the class vice president and all that. And I got to put my speech together and things of that nature.
And you must have an ear-to-ear smile.
Oh,
the whole time.
No, I love it. I'm going, man, are we influencing our daughter?
That's a great way to end a day.
Yeah.
Each one of you, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Not only are they learned, experienced policymakers here on the island, they're also Guamanians. Senator Joanne Brown, Minority Leader Chris Duenas, and former Senator Jess Lujan. Consider them when you head to the polls, won't you, on November 8th in the general election. Please get out and vote. So, Senators, Jess, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having us, Jason.
Good luck.
It was a wonderful experience.
You're always welcome here, and best of luck to all three of you. All right, that is going to do it for our show. We will see you tomorrow. This has been the HotSpot. Have a good lunch, everybody.